Just one, two. Welcome to demonstration of the Project Management Process Accelerator. In this demonstration, we are going to demonstrate the full feature set of the Project Management Process Accelerator, in which we take your project charter to development-ready work items in minutes and not months. On the left-hand side of the screen is Jira. On the right-hand side of the screen is the tool. Let's look at the left-hand side in detail. We have our portfolio epic at the highest level, which is empty. We have our business value proposition, which is effectively a charter. Inside, we're going to be doing a project estimation calculator. This is our requirements. There's a description. There's some security considerations. We've created some end user personas, GDPR requirements. We have some AI fields. We're going to be filling this in as part of our demonstration today. The real meat comes in your project charter and business case entity. So let's open that up right now. Here we have a description of our project calculator, some external documentation links that refer to some stuff in the web. We have a list of risks and some issues to our project, business value to our organization, value to the customer, security considerations, objectives for our project, an overall plan, our business case and approach assumptions, impact if not done, business case value benefits, executive summary of our project, implementation costs, some guessing here, project charter, what's in scope, what's out of scope, and some fields that we're going to fill in using the tool. Now, I've intentionally left some of these empty because our tool will look at that and will tell us that we've left some of those things empty. So that'll be part of our demonstration today. You can see there's no children entities below. I'll hit the refresh there. So there's no smoke and mirrors here. So we've got issues 1, 2, and 3 in a fresh Jira project. So let's go over here on our right-hand side to our tool. Okay, so the first tool we're going to go to is the project charter recommendations. So we're going to come over here. We have some help and FAQs on the left-hand side. I'm just going to hide those for now. So we're going to select our project. We're going to choose our calculator project. We're going to put in our BVP, PMPA D2-2. We're going to run our quality checks here. Everything looks good. We're going to execute the workflow. So down below, we'll see that the webhook returned successfully. So that means the system is up and running and our request is in the queue. We'll see that our database progress monitoring window is looking at the workflow from the queue. This is polling about every 10 seconds and telling us what's happening in the background. It's giving us a little bit of a status window here. We could look at some details, starting looking up the custom field definitions. We'll give this just a moment here. Okay, so now we've got the green box. The Jira issue PMPA 2-3 was modified. So let's come over here to 2-3. And it's telling us that the AI's updates and recommendations field was modified. So let's scroll down and find that box. Let's see. So AI updates and recommendations. So it says the project charter is generally well structured, provides a good foundation, but to further strengthen it and enhance its funding approval, consider the following. So it gave us some suggestions about the business plan. It gave us some suggestion about value to the organization. And so really it found the fields that were empty, gave us some suggestions, and it really, look at this, reframed the description to emphasize value. So it really did some deep dive. It talked about the end user personas. So it really gave us some information here that we can go back to really present a more compelling and thoroughly justified case for funding approval. So that's great news. Okay, so let's go on to our next item here. So we're going to now look to see if there's any prior art out in the world. So let's hide our FAQs here. So again, we're going to choose our calculator project, and we're going to input a BVP, PMPA AD2. We'll use the autocomplete here, run our quality checks. Yep, so everything looks good. And you'll notice here that it marked it modified by AI. So we keep track of what's being modified, what's being eventually created by AI. Okay, we're getting the green box here. So it says summary. Patent prior art search agent has completed. So here's a summary. So let's see. Let's go into 2-3 again. So we're going to go into 2-3. Should be a field here called at the bottom. See, this was the updates and recommendations. Here we go. So AI-based prior art search. So project description, it gives a little summary to make sure it knows what we're talking about. Existing prior art, categories of prior art, general project estimation software tools, direct competitors, examples, lead generation tools, detailed comparison analysis, gives us references, and a conclusion. So it faces significant existing prior art in the form of numerous web-based project cost calculators. So of course, this is a calculator. There's lots of calculators out there. So that's an obvious conclusion. Go back to our dashboard. Now let's look at the Project Charter AI acceleration opportunity. We're going to, again, press the calculator and PMPA 2. We're going to run our quality checks, execute the workflow. So I should take this time to talk about which each one of these does while it's running. So given the business value proposition, provide a strategic guidance on products to enhance customer experience, drive business value, and scale operational efficiency while ensuring ethical, transparent, and responsible use of AI. So we're going to use AI to try and give suggestions about our product, our project charter here, of how we could use AI in the product we're trying to build and deliver. So here we go. We got some green completion boxes. So let's go to 2-3 again. Let's scroll down here to the AI section. It's our updates and recommendations. So AI acceleration opportunities. So the document outlines potential AI-driven enhancements. So intellectual estimation logic, some technology that could be used, benefits, natural language understanding, personalized recommendations and upselling, conversational AI for guided estimation, so interactive support, advanced analytics and lead intelligence, ethical AI and transparency. So by strategically incorporating these AI capabilities, the project estimator calculator can evolve into a highly intelligent, user-centric, so on and so forth. So it gave some really good suggestions on how to use AI in our tool. Okay. Now, these next 3 business planning tools or workflows are for when you actually have the features created. We don't have any features created yet. So I'm going to skip over those for now, and I'm going to jump into the next section of actually creating features. So we have 2 different workflows here. One is for creating features directly without looking at attachments. And the other one is for creating features when you have attachments, pictures, images, PDFs. We don't have any of that. So we're just going to use it, the one without attachments. So we're going to pick our project here. So let's go PMP82. We're going to choose our BVP because it's asking for BVP, run our quality check. So what is this one going to do? This is going to take a BVP, but it's not just going to look at the BVP alone. It's going to look at the BVP and the project charter. And it will follow hypertext links, but it won't look at any attachments. So if we had image attachments to the Jira issue, if we had PDF attachments, it'll follow links, but it won't look at attachments. So sometimes you may have attachments that are relevant, and sometimes you may have attachments that are not relevant. There'll be informational attachments, but not relevant to the generation of features. So you don't want to confuse the AI with a bunch of stuff that you've got on there. So that's why we have both of them, both workflows available. So we're going to run this and we'll see what the results are. We can see on the left-hand side updating. So this in real time is going to create the features. Now, features are supposed to be, the smaller bite size functions, and we'll see what it generates. Now, one thing you may notice is that some of these features are features that were from the AI suggestions. So the natural language understanding were not part of the original scope, but were part of the AI suggested scope. So now you as the product owner, as the project team, you can make the decision. Do you want to include some of these suggested items, or maybe you can delete them or put them in your backlog, for later. So there you go. Now you've got some features. You can go in and let's take a look at one of these right now. So web-based project estimation interface. So here we go. We've got a description. We've got acceptance criteria, which actually has the end user personas in it. It's got some security considerations, GDPR requirements. Let's take a look at another one of these. Basic analytics tracking. So description, acceptance criteria, security considerations. Intelligent estimation logic, again, description, security considerations. So that just describes your feature level. So now let's create some user stories. Again, two workflows, user story with attachments. We don't have any attachments, so we're just gonna use the user story. I'm gonna hide the help here again, just to give us some more space. Here we go, here's our user calculator. Run our quality checks, make sure everything looks good, hit the execute. So this again is asking at the BVP level. So the agent is going to look holistically, the BVP, the project charter, and all of the features combined, and understand holistically what are you trying to deliver, and then generate all of the user stories. So it's not going to look at one feature alone. It really wants to understand, to prevent not just duplication, but also to understand holistically what are you trying to build here. So let's let it chew away at this for a while and see what it can produce. Okay, so it looks like it's finishing up its run here. So it's taken a few minutes. It's definitely creating them faster than I could type them. So let's take a look at some of these. We'll open them up. So we've got a couple of user stories here that are created. I'll expand that over. So written in a format that our developers like, our product owners would expect. So user story statements. As a user, I want to understand AI estimations. I'll just open a couple of these. As a user, I want to input project requirements. As a sales manager, I want to basic analytics. We'll open up these a little bit more so we can see them. We'll dive into one in a second. As a user, I want a friendly web interface. So let's go into some details here. So this story focuses development of a primary user interface. It has some acceptance criteria. It has a user story statement, security considerations, WASP compliance, cross-site scripting considerations, end user persona, guidance to developer, guidance to the tester. Okay, so we'll take a look at maybe another interesting one here, intelligent estimation logic. So how about this one? Dynamic AI-powered estimation for accurate project planning, some estimation criteria, user story, security consideration, guidance to developer. So it's try to do its best job to give you information, give the developer information, and it's marked everything created by AI. So all of these have at least one user story under here. Some of them have maybe 2 or 3. So let's move on to the next workflow. So we've created our user stories. Now let's create our end user journeys. So end user journeys are really helpful. I'm going to expand the FAQ here. So end user journeys are notable because they really allow us to look at, what should happen sort of A to B. You're going to do this and then that. What should happen? They help the quality development team. They communicate paths and steps. Now, this works at an epic level. It doesn't work at the BVP level. So let's try one or two of these out. We don't have to do all of them, but let's try at least our basic one out. So let's go to PMPA 2-4 because that's at least our web interface. So let's run our quality check there. Looks good. So we'll execute that. So here we have the user journey ticket. So let's open that up. So scenario, Sam navigates, he puts some input, he reviews and adjusts, he entered the requirements and he receives preliminary estimate. So a nice little workflow. So it gets rid of any assumptions about how this, application should work, how the interface should work. So obviously it's a simple calculator, so that's what it should do. We've got another user persona. So Maria, looks about the same, but it could be different if you have different personas. And we've identified, remember from our project charter, we've identified 3 personas. So the AI said, oh, you have 3 personas, so I'm going to give you 3 user journeys here. So let's do, so this is completed. Let's do one more. So let's put in 2-5 here, run the quality checks again, and then execute the workflow. So this will all clear up in just a second as the new workflow starts. There we go. So here we go. So for the calculation logic, we've got at least 2 new user journeys here. So Sam, the startup founder, project estimation. Let's take a look at that one real quick. So initiation, input, calculation, review, estimate. Probably about the same thing. It's a calculator. It's not too hard, but obviously on more complex projects, you're going to get more complex user. All right. So user journeys are really good because they can help sort out and identify if you have any assumptions or missing assumptions that don't get captured in your requirements. You're going to find out really quick because the user journey will sniff those out for you. All right. Let's do some complexity estimation next. So complexity estimation is really, really great at using the A to Z pointing methodology. And let's just jump into one so you can get a better understanding here. So let's start off with this is at the epic level because it's going to estimate the user stories. So we're going to validate. But while that's chewing away, if you have any questions, right? We've got the help text over here, and it expands out to give you some more information. And we're constantly building more FAQs and more detail here as time goes on, and we get feedback from our users about help that they need. So feel free to look in there or message us and say, could you provide more information about this workflow or what the system's doing, and we'll put more information in there for you. Okay. So this is saying 2-32 is done. So let's go in there and take a look. So we've got a user story with its description, acceptance criteria, security. We've got a lot of stuff in here. Here we go. So we've got our complexity calculation. So our complexity layers, our discovery, UI, technical layers, middleware, business logic, data structures, pipeline work, the impact, risk, quality, magnitude. So this is a 72 point based on our A to Z story pointing methodology. So not too bad. We've got a lot of middleware work to support this, some business logic. I mean, it is a calculator, so you've got some work to do here. So not bad. Let's do one more. Let's do 2-5. Here, we'll run the quality check. We'll execute the workflow. Again, this will clear up as starts to work on the next work item. There we go. Okay, that says it's updating the issue right now, so it should be almost done. Okay, here we go. Let's go into 2-31 here. Again, we've got our description, acceptance criteria. So here we go. We need some investigation, technical design, maybe a little bit of UI work, more middleware, business. So this is a 41 pointer. Obviously, pipeline work. We've got to get our pipelines together to deploy the software, some integration, data structure work. So you guys technical folks can look at this and figure out if that's accurate or not, but at least it's a starting point. There you go. All right, let's take a look at we don't have a sprint yet, so we're gonna skip the sprint workflows, but let's take a look at the technical design documentation tasks. So this doesn't actually create the technical design for you, but what it does do is it says, do you need to create any technical design? And of course, technical design is always good to create. So let's take a look at our each epic and say, should we create some technical design work? And let's run it for our first epic. So it's running here. So technical design work will be assigned to the technical team. So maybe technical design documentation related to the interface and API, data structures. So it's good to run this after you've done your user journeys, after you've created your user stories, after you've done your estimation, because the workflow is going to digest everything that you've done so far and make an assessment. Okay, so it's creating some documentation tasks. Let's open the first one. So here we go. Document outlines the technical design, primary single web-based interface. The design should ensure the interface is intuitive, allow users to input. So some acceptance criteria. Users should be able. So this is to tell someone, create a design for me, right? So maybe this goes to your UI UX designer. Let's take a look at the next one. Outlines the technical design for implementing the web interface, single page design, story focuses on the primary interface for the project calculator, verify the web interface is easily accessible from different modern web browsers, test all the field inputs. So this looks like it's more towards a technical design document. How does this work across multiple browsers? So that's very interesting that it knows that all browsers are not the same. So it's very interesting that it knows that, and someone's got to write the documentation for it. Okay. So let's move on here. Creating technical subtasks. So let's take a look at that for, again, at the epic level. So we're going to dive in here, and we're going to do that for our number 4. Since we're deep diving on the first epic, execute the workflow. So this is going to create the technical subtasks that really you would assign out. You'd put the user story into a sprint, and those subtasks underneath the user story would be the ones that you'd give out to your technical team. So depending on the complexity of the user story, is it just a very simple, and we saw that this is a complex user story based on the A to Z story pointing methodology. There's going to be a lot of work items related to this. So is it just some UI changes, or there's middleware involved, there's some logic, there's some design work. So what's going to be involved? So let's expand that right now, because it looks like it's creating these as we're sitting here. So there we already, we got some design work, developing the UI components. We've got technical discovery, middleware. So again, if you follow from the top to the bottom of the workflows, and you've created your estimations using the A to Z methodology, you've followed the steps, then the AI has a really, really easy time understanding, well, what is the breakdown of all of the work necessary to successfully complete this work? So implementation of the pipelines, this is very easy to hand out to your project team, to your DevOps and platform team, to your security team, all of the things necessary to have the project be successful. This one user story, you're not going to miss anything. Everything is here for you to do. Well, not yet, actually, because really what you need is some testing. So how do you do some testing? Well, we can do some sprint test planning. We don't have a sprint just yet. You can create a test plan for an epic. So let's do that, because we have an epic here with a user story. So we're gonna do that one first. Let's put our FAQs aside. So again, we're gonna choose our epic number 4. And again, just for the purposes of this demonstration, we're choosing something very simple so that this can go very, very quickly. But the system will handle much larger, more complex, more user stories. But we can't have the demonstration run all day. I don't want to keep you here too long. Let me collapse this. So this workflow here that we're looking at is going to analyze the epic, right? So that describes this feature that we're working on. So it's a right-sized feature. It's going to look at all the user stories. We only have one user story here. And really, it's going to look at any of this other documentation that might be in here, and it's going to create a test plan. So it's going to create as many test plans as it thinks we need to create based on the complexity of this user story and the epic itself. And so far, it's created a functional test plan, a security test plan. So let's just look at the functional test plan first. So here we have some functional testing with objectives, UI, UX testing. Here's a non-functional, so a responsiveness. We've got a data validation testing, security testing, data privacy testing. So that's good to know. We've got our GDPR compliance in there. Let's look at our security and data privacy. There might be some overlap. OWASP testing. So there you go. More data privacy, GDPR. So again, there might be some overlap. You guys have to decide that. But now you got your 2 test plans, and this is completed. So back to the dashboard. But test plans aren't good enough. We want to actually have tests. So the test is what the test engineer is going to do the actual steps 1, 2, and 3, 4. So let's create the steps 1, 2, and 3, 4 here. So run our quality checks. So this workflow is going to look at the epic. It's going to look at all the test plans under this epic and the linked user stories. Oh, and I should highlight that. Let's go take a look at the test plan side of things. So from this test plan, you can see that this test plan links and tests this user story. So if this test plan tested multiple user stories, it would link to multiple user stories. So we create those relationships for you, so you don't have to go and figure out what test plan links to what user story, or conversely, which user story is tested by which test plan. We do that for you. Okay, so let's go into the user story side of things here and check out what's happening. So this user story, let's see. All right, so it has the two test plans we saw earlier, the functional test plan, security test plan, and now it also has some tests. So it has a verify security data transmission. So let's take a look at one of these tests. So here are the actual detailed test steps. Steps 1 through 10: navigate, observe, attempt to force access, open the developer tools, confirm communications, detailed outcomes, guidance to the test engineer. So that's pretty detailed. Let's go back up. So it's created 1, 2, 3, 4 tests for us. So the user story is linked to these 4 tests. And if we go to the test plan, we can see that the test plan still linked to the tests, right? So there we go. So the user story in the test plan and the user story to the tests. So it'll be very easy for your tester to find things. There we go. Open that back up. Okay. Oops, still running here. Let's let it finish. The test plans were pretty big. There were a lot of items in here, so it's creating a lot of tests. So we'll have to let it finish here. Well, we can actually let it finish in the background. Let's move on. Okay, so we've created a test plan. We've created the tests. We also have workflows that if for some reason you've got a lot of deficiencies, you can create a test plan specifically for deficiencies, or if you wanted to create some tests for a single work item, you can do that. But let's take a look at some release notes. Let's create some release notes for this specific feature. So you've got to release this to the world, and you want to send out some release notes to your customer or to the marketing sales team. So let's create those release notes. Let's execute that workflow. So it's going to take a look at what we've got written at the epic level, but it's also going to look through our user stories. It's going to look through our documentation and user journeys, and it's going to try to make us a really beautiful, nicely written set of release notes here, so that you don't have to spend the time figuring out how to write those. There we go. So let's go in there and see if we can find them. So let's see, feature release notes. Here we go. We're excited to introduce our web-based project estimation interface, key benefits, effortless project scoping, rapid preliminary estimates, accessibility, data quality assurance. So you can massage this a little bit, but you could give this over to your marketing and sales team, and off to the races you go. Now, say you wanted to create a more interesting press release, or you wanted to create like a YouTube video, and you wanted a script style press release. We can do that as well. So let's run the quality checks on that. Let's execute. So this could be very helpful for social media formats, or just internal or customer facing, specifically media. Let's take a look. Okay, so it says it's done. So we'll go in here. So here's our feature release notes again, but let's scroll down and try and find our press release. So there's a title and gives you segments. scenes, graphics, narrators, graphics, so on and so forth. Oh, I see some issues in here, so we'll clean that up for you. So it gives you a nice press release. Okay. Now, when you create a release in Jira, so let's create that now. Let's go and create a release. So let's do create version, calculator release version 1.0. And let's start it today, end it. Okay, and then let's go back to our list of items. And let's put our, let's put a couple of user stories here into, that's going to go in. Let's take our second guy here, put him in there. Now let's make some release notes for 2-5. So you're gonna make your release. Let's double check that we've added it. So we've got our first version 1.0 release has our 2 user stories in it, and we want to put some release notes together specifically for our fixed version. So let's go and find our workflow here. Fixed version release notes. So let's choose our fixed version. So what that's going to do is it's going to find your fixed version. It's going to find all the issues that are in your fixed version. It's going to either get the existing release notes, which we've created, or if it doesn't have release notes, it's going to look and analyze, but we have the release notes there, so it's going to make it a little bit faster for us. And it's going to generate something that's going to sum up the completion of that release. So that's great when you've got a dozen, 2 dozen, 100 plus work items, defects, user stories, improvements, new features that go into your release, and you can't remember everything, or you don't want to go through and summarize. So it's gonna do it all for you. So here we go. We've got 2-63. So let's find that. Oops, I need to go back to, how do I get back to that there? List. There we go, 2-63. Okay. So here we go, version 1.0, customer-facing release notes, and we've got a summary here, reasons for the change, value to you, how it benefits. So now you've got your fixed version or your release, customer-facing release notes. You can hand this over to your sales and marketing team, and boom, out the door you go with version 1.0, and you can see all of this was done in a very, very compact amount of time. And if you plug all of this into an AI-based software building system, so you're using Cursor or Anthropic or Copilot or any of the other dozen software building systems, you can MCP this in, and with your development team, you could have all of this up and running, your calculator up and running in just a matter of days, and beat your competition in every sense of the word. So I hope this was enjoyable for you. I hope this was informative, and I hope this convinces you to be a customer of the Project Management Process Accelerator. So if you have any questions or any doubts, please feel free to reach out to us. Feel free to reach out to me. And I hope this was helpful, and have a great day.